Gonna open up this big ass map so I know where the hell we are.
Enjoy the big ass map. Hi everybody. That is still on the screen. Why is that still on the screen? Freaking. Welcome to Records of Evil. After some delays based on some people and some technical issues combining together to be a wonderful bit of delay, and it's on fire probably. It's okay. We're here. We're playing D&D.
The fire's fine. Don't worry about it.
Don't mind this fire. It's all around us. It's burning.
God, this map is way too big.
That map is
It's
way
very
too big.
cold.
No, that's a picture of Candace's cat, not the map.
Oh, you can pull that up and just look at that.
Damien, you're being summoned.
Won't help, but might make you feel better.
It's funny because that is actually what I could do.
We need the it's the Omen music. Dos Dominos, kitty cat. I do that for Damien occasionally when she shows up. She is evil. Anyway, yes,
True.
We're playing Records of Evil, which is D&D. No, we're playing D&D, and the game is Records of Evil, and my mind is just freaking messed up today. So don't mind me. I will do my best here and to lead them through an insanity, which is the continent of Osse, which is fantasy Australia, and everything is bigger and more poisonous than before. You thought Australia was big and poisonous? No, Osse. We got poison. We got large. They met like a giant two-headed turtle and the dire platypus, which is best described as a platypus with 6 legs, horns, that breathes fire, shoots electricity from its horns, also spits out a gunk, which you can use to make like insect-like nests, and is poisonous.
And
Catch.
Mishka is not getting one. The father of the party, the dad of the party says no.
She will get one. I will get one. You cannot stop me. I may be just like you, but that doesn't mean you have a third.
I still want to see like you strap it to the roof of your car and it's just like rah!
Yes. She will write it back if she needs to. She'll be kicked out of the car, but it's okay. She's got a platypus.
So you find yourself in a kind of small town, about after the first day into your journey. You know that your journey is going to take a couple of days, a couple more days, I should say, and you're kind of at a small town that's along this main route, which loops around the Ulatara Wastes. Your goal currently is to head to Ulatara, on the edge of the Ulatara Wastes, and eventually get maybe either from there on your own or get a guide into the veins of the world. Your next big stop is Leviroto. I'm gonna really butcher these names on this map here. I butcher names anyway, so it's normal. As previously said, it's got like it's a pretty friendly small town. It's got like walls around it that protect it, like big old like dirt walls. Kind of entrances in and out where like vehicles can travel through. It's got like a small like motel type area that you can stay in. A bar. The people are relatively friendly, being like, "Good day! I tell you, we're terribly Australian."
Oh no. It begins.
My awful Australian accent is accurate for this place, so don't invite me. It's fantasy Australia, it's not real Australia.
It's not Australia.
It's Osse. It's accurate for Ossians.
Oh, no. You three entertain yourselves. I'm gonna go get drunk. I need it.
I'll do that! I'll probably join you in getting drunk.
Oh no.
I forgot about that.
I've become accustomed to it at this point. Any character that Jess plays is this voice.
Yeah.
I can't do a Jess voice very well. I just started doing Scottish because it's the only British accent I can do. My English accent's really bad. It's Cockney. It's like Cockney bad. I could do that. Right, Governor, I've been joining you with this one right now.
I might be able to do Irish accents. Top of the morning to you then. No, I can't. Never mind. Ignore that.
Last time I was doing a pirate accent, it turned into an Irish accent. I just kind of went.
I bailed halfway through that and like, nope.
Oh, what are we going out now and be partying really
I really
hard?
need to practice accents. I'm actually good at accents if I practice them.
Doc is gonna get drunk.
Okay.
Which is why I can do a Romanian accent. Kind of
It'll be like a burly, older half-orc man that's kind of like behind the bar. He'll be like, "What gets you, mate?"
Whatever gets me drunkest the fastest.
Hard stuff. Sounds great. So welcome. What brings you to a piss-poor small town out here in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by massive wild beasts? You ain't one of the pretty farmers.
Again?
What?
What kind are we in again?
Plork.
Lord.
Okay. Sorry, I thought there was actually a name.
No, I just named it Plork. Welcome to the town of
Got it.
Plork.
Where are we actually headed? Veins of the World, where we're actually headed?
Yeah, the Veins of the World and
Yes.
the Ulatara Wastes.
Ulatara.
Ulatara Wastes.
We're heading out to the wastes to do
Wastes.
some research.
Ah, scientist types. Well, you're going to a place that'll kill most men, kill most women, tear the skin off of your bones, and probably leave you out to die. So,
Well,
you need some of this. He'll like pour you like a shot of something.
well, if you see the people I travel with, death will be a blessing. And he starts drinking.
It burns severely. You're like, that's incredibly strong and unpleasant.
Well, that's something. I might need more.
Oi, traveler! Like this man's gonna come up. You want to join us for knifing?
Knifing?
Knifing! One of our famous pastimes around here.
Sure. What is it?
Rather than dartboard, they have like this dummy set up, and they chuck knives into it.
Oh. Yeah, sure. I'll give that a try.
Sure.
What do I roll for it?
It would be a range attack.
Ranged attack.
Mhm.
I'm so used to Pathfinder sheets at this point, so it's a D20 plus Dex.
I'll pass. The last time I did that, I went very, very, very wrong.
D20 plus Dex, right?
Mm-hmm.
Misha's really just watching with like water in her hand, like. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the last time I did
Misses
that,
horribly.
very wrong.
Very intoxicated.
You have to learn to hold your liquor. And he throws it, and it's not a great hit, but it's a nice hit, you know. You kind of bounced off of it, off the dummy. He managed to land it in like what would be considered like a 10-point zone, so I guess it's like he gets it lodged in the where the dummy's crotch would be. He's like, oh. There's probably like bullseye on its like face, on its chest, you know, and it's got like, you know, weird like it's like one of those like stick dummies, so it's kind of got arms and legs and stuff, you know, but it's like really
Fun.
primitive.
I'll give it another throw.
Okay. Ooh. Alright, you get a pretty solid body shot. He misses it.
One more.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Ooh, good roll. Alright. Ah, Traveler! Looks like you've played knifey before!
I've certainly thrown knives at things before.
Excellent! Next drink's on my barkeep.
Dox regrets his decision to come here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, Dox is just gonna continue to get drunk. 'Cause that's entertainment,
Mm-hmm.
and this place is boring.
You were
To
drinking for a
him.
while, and then, like, about halfway through the night, there's this conversation about, like, so then I get the crocodile in a headlock, and of course, my arm's barely getting around the thing's head, and I'm punching under its jaw. And it wants to bite me, and this thing's like 5 times my size. And it's going for the death roll, but I got it on land. The sucker can't do nothing about that. And then my buddy, he comes in with his hammer and clubs the thing in the head. The thing's stunned for a minute. That's when we captured it. I tell you, best time I wrestled a crocodile ever. The headlock of doom. No one messes with these guns.
It's quite the story.
You should have seen it. It was great.
Is anyone else in this bar? Like,
Yeah, there's like 5 people that are all around you getting really drunk that are part of
Nice.
this group that have like
Hell
included
yeah.
you.
Dox has disappeared from the adventure. This is his life now.
But he's joined a part of crazy outback exploring animal wrestlers or capturers or something. You joined Ocean Dundee and his team.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'll drink into the night. I'm assuming everybody else will drink for a while and then head to the hotel. Or should I say motel? Which the motel is pretty open. I mean, like, when you settled in there, like, there was probably, like, a large, like, cat-sized spider that the person shoot out, you know, the room. It's like, shoot! Get out of here, you! It breathed up its legs and hissed, you know? As a spider. It's like, get out! Go! Shoot! Don't mind those
Nice.
things. They're not as deadly as they look. They're big softies! It's like reeving up its front legs and hissing, you know, he's got a broom knocking it out, like, through, like, a glass door.
Oh,
You know, like
nice.
a sliding door.
I suppose at like some point around, I don't know, 2 a.m. Dox returns to the motel.
Mm-hmm.
He just passes out somewhere.
Yeah. We'll assume you made it. Well, I'm just gonna roll a die here.
But yeah, how far did I get?
Oh, that's not the right thing. I'm gonna roll this d20. Oh, okay. You made it that you halfway landed on a bed.
Oh, it's better than nothing.
Yeah. So it's
I
like
will
you got
pick
your
up his, I
You'd
will
have
pick
ended
up
up on
his
the
feet
floor.
and move him to the bed.
You turn him on his side.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
like
make sure he's not face down.
He can sleep like they do in Cyberpunk.
You're like,
Cyberpunk
oh no.
bed. It still makes me so angry that they do that.
I'm about to go out like Hendrix.
Mm-hmm. So like next morning, Dox, you feel awful.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck.
You will also notice that, like, there's a large spider the size of a cat curled up next to you. Going like...
I grab the newly acquired sword and I slash at thee. I gotta make sure I click the right sword because I got like 3 of these things.
Wow, there's this blurt of like spider blood across the room, as now everything is very messy and spidery.
Too loud. Oh, fuck, why did I do that? I'm covered now. Docs will get up and go find somewhere to wash.
Mm-hmm. They've got kind of like a bathroom. It doesn't have a great, like, it's like one of those like stall showers in the bathroom. So you gotta stand
I
up
just
for it.
remembered, I was trying, earlier in the last game, I was trying to acquire a gun. Was I able to get one? A pistol?
I think you have a gun.
Mm-hmm.
You at least have a pistol.
Yeah. I just don't remember, and I didn't write it down on my sheet, so.
Got gun.
Pew pew.
Mm-hmm. So yes, you can go get washed up. There's like horrible spider guts all over the place though, and you know it's just. I mean, it was just curled up next to you, like.
It made sound and scared dogs.
You could have at least cut it up in a way that made it edible.
I mean, you can still eat it. I guess.
Or we could have just not killed it.
It
What
deserves
about
it.
our deposit?
It was sleeping, I think.
It's a motel. There wasn't a deposit.
Uh-huh.
I'll pay them a little extra to clean it.
Mm-hmm. What are you doing here? What? Don't tell me. I don't want to know about your crazy parties you're having on your trip. It's all right. We'll clean it up. We'll clean it up all right. Mm-hmm. Wink, wink.
Mishka is actively uncomfortable.
I slip him some extra money to never speak of this again.
Mm-hmm. So,
Alright,
yes.
what's the plan for today?
Well, if you're on schedule, you should be able to arrive at Leviroto. Let's put that in check. Just about. That is a very revvy engine.
That is, yeah.
I can sit there and I'm like, is that like a plane? And I'm like, no, that's a car. Why are their engines so loud? Leviroto is the next big stop. Of course, there is a couple of smaller settlements off the main road along the way, and a few that you will have to pass through. But theoretically, if you're on schedule for your trip, you should arrive there around nightfall. And that is the first major settlement along your trip, along the route you're taking. Leviroto would be considered a small city. It ends up being kind of like a trade hub with a lot of the farmers and stuff within the plains. It's not the biggest, but it is a connection with the southwestern plains and Uluru, which is the probably kind of capital in this area. Regional capital. Mm-hmm.
I heard. Oh gosh, that ring the bell in my brain, and now I don't remember what it's from.
Can't tell you on that one. I'm not remembering.
I know.
Something. All right.
Again, I did that more as a joke, but it just reminded me of something I don't remember what.
It'll be another exciting day trip of driving. It continues to have that kind of the plains, as I've kind of described them before. There really isn't a lot that's stands out as different. After my kind of description, you've got the kind of creatures I described, the general deterrence that exists. It doesn't mean that there's not incidents with things crossing the road, unfortunately, but the magical deterrents do tend to keep a lot of the larger creatures away. So at most you might have to deal with like a horse-sized lizard in the middle of the street that you have to like, you know, park for and like beep your horn for a while to get it out of the way. As it looks at you and licks its lips. It's basically like a giant like mono lizard that's just like
Oh
looking at you.
god.
Looking at your car. Uh-huh. Other than that, you know, an occasional dire wombat, like herd that kind of wanders through, because they don't care as much, you know, but again, like, the road is more used for trade and very little bits of travel most of the time. So, you do pass by a couple of vehicles. There's a couple of stops along the way, places to get gasoline, to keep going. This area is relatively well settled, at least, you know, so you can stop by local places, you know, like the the lizard place from before, you know, that we had at the side of the road. That was selling lizard, and run by a lizard man. That was really big.
Big
You know,
lizard lad.
That's not uncommon for lizard folk. For all we know, it could have been his cousin.
It's a relatively, in comparison to your first day, like, I can't say that it's necessarily uneventful. Things happen. Creatures are seen. Events happen. But nothing that stands out as making it a truly eventful trip. It's more uneventful in the fact that there isn't anything that really delays your trip wholeheartedly. And nothing that stands out as being weirder than what you saw the first day. You know? You saw a bunch of strange things, and you're like, yeah, okay, more of that. You know? It's that kind of thing. But, you can say something. Okay. But eventually you will make it to Leviroto. Now, Leviroto is interesting because it's... When you were in Toril, in Faerun, I mean, you could see where the old cities were by the city walls. The city walls that still existed in many of these old cities were in the old portions of town. The new portions of town didn't have those. This city is a walled, modern city. Now, granted, like, most of the buildings don't seem to go over, like, the highest ones are, like, 4 stories, you know, so there's, like, some small, buildings that have height to them. But, like, you kind of crest over a hill, and you can kind of see it kind of nestled in the middle of a bunch of different hills, kind of, like, down in, like, in a valley area, with these kind of actual, looks like stone walls surrounding it. And, like, you can see, like, there are buildings that go higher than those walls. As it looks to be just, like, a little bit of a modern city nestled in this area here, still protected. You can see that there's probably about a dozen roads that go off in various different directions out from the city, along with these kind of like guarded gates. So there's like a kind of open gate in the city, and rather than the old gates that kind of swung open, you can see that it like is they're like metal doors that can close up to seal up the gates if need be, if there's some kind of dangerous creature that's approaching it. City is fairly bustling when you kind of get in, and there is like traffic that kind of goes out on all the roads. Like, you know, you can see the traffic. Like, some of the roads seem much more major traffic than others. Even so, it's not like it's completely covered in people. It's just you can see vehicles traveling on all of them. It's not a freeway that's covered during rush hour. There are people out and about. Business seems to be booming. You can see shops of various kinds selling all kinds of things. There's like restaurants that seem to be very worldly. Like, you can see a Hawaiian restaurant, something that seems to be from Tan, and then of course one that is from Faerun, a Coromirian restaurant. All along this kind of strip that you're kind of heading into.
At least there's places to eat.
There's various shops selling all kinds of goods. it's hard to say how much these places have, but it looks as though that they have stuff brought in from various places across the world. But this place at least has some connection to the world, and you know, business booms. There really isn't. There's a couple of places that are kind of more like a Motel 6 kind of things, and a couple of actual hotels in the place. So you can find a place to stay pretty easily. What do you want to go for? You want to go for like another kind of motel? Do you want to go for an actual hotel?
What do you?
I
Sorry.
Google search what has the best food.
You find out a couple of places that would have good food depending on the type of food you want. If you're looking
Well,
for
it's for sale looking, so what has the most interesting food?
If you're looking for a hotel or motel that has the interesting food connected to it, there's a hotel that has a restaurant that serves Mostican food. That's got a chef from Mostica that came in. He's pretty well known in Osse, in this region, for it. And in fact, he actually does do a couple of TV shows that actually go onto some of the global stage. Like if you'd watch some of the food channels back home, you might recognize him from like one that he's got like on the major Favrunian like Food Network. I don't know what it would be called.
Probably Food Network.
Probably Food Network.
I feel like that's just a universal name on every setting,
Yeah,
including real life.
yeah. So on the favorites version of the Food Network, they've got like him like showing Mostican specials off from his, you know, and he of course is centered out of Osse, but you know.
As long as it's got a bed I can sleep in, I'm fine. Maybe no spiders.
That spider liked you. Don't worry about it. Right.
Words.
Did I just turn Jess Australian?
network.
I don't know. Whatever. I don't know what
Jess is whatever accent we need her to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She has an accent. I will do it, and it will be bad.
I'm still pretty. Do either of you have a cure hangover spell or something?
Yes.
Really? It's oddly specific.
I assume greater restoration of your hangover.
Oh yeah.
Heck, lesser restoration probably would too.
Probably lesser restoration would cure hangover. Honestly speaking, yes.
Yeah, I just touch him.
I
Oh,
would find it
sure.
really funny if like none of it actually worked.
It's just
She
a
just like assumed that it would, but
Oh,
she just still suffers.
Mishka's just upset I killed a spider.
She is very upset that you killed Spider.
I'm upset we didn't cook this.
I feel that the spider was still eaten. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah, probably. It
I
didn't go to
would-
waste.
Hey, yeah, being drunk is the poison condition, so I guess lesser restoration would remove it. It's a second level spell slot of cure cat.
Second level spell slot of cure hangover.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something an average person can do, but certainly, you know, if you've got a cleric, you've got a cure hangover and lesser restoration.
Should have asked sooner.
I suppose we should go to this hotel then.
Alright. Welcome! How can I help you today? You have a reservation?
I turned to Vercel.
Yes.
What's on the line of
Actually,
it? You probably could have made a reservation
actually-
looking for it, I guess, if you wanted to online.
I would have. Would it have been like full?
No.
Okay.
Again, like, this city is, like, probably the second biggest in the region, next to the capital of this region, but the capital of this region is also, like, another day's travel away. So this ends up being, like, one of the two main trade hubs. because the capital of this region kind of connects more with the outside world. This connects more with the inside region of the plains here. Kind of as a trip, because the Uluru is connected to Lake Erie, which eventually goes to the coastline. Well, it's not on it, but it's like it's as close as you can get to it, and so that's why it kind of connects up that way. And then some ruler, it spreads it out to the city here, Leviroto, and that spreads it out to the rest of the plains. I don't know. Goods from overseas, kind of like osmosis. So yeah, it's not to capacity. Are you here for the convention?
Convention?
Oh yes. Oh, I guess you're not here for it then.
Well, what's the convention about?
It's a
Furry convention.
yeah,
Very convention.
all kinds of things. They got those people dressing up in as characters from that cartoon animation.
Oh
Also-
no, it's an anime con.
Also, they got them dressing up as like characters from all them those comic books and stuff too.
Ugh.
Comic-Con, dude. You got here just in time for Comic-Con.
Australian Comic-Con.
Close enough to furry convention.
And
Any convention can be a furry convention.
If you try hard enough.
They all are.
It's just starting a few days, and some people have been showing up for it.
You sidetrack and then get cosplays.
Oh my
To be
God.
fair, all we have to do is wear our normal clothes, like our work stuff from like
Yeah.
years ago.
Mhm.
Perfect.
Well, if you're staying around, you might want to check it out.
Well,
It's one of the largest conventions in all of Osse.
well, we're in town for a little bit, so we might as well.
I'd recommend it. I believe they've got some out-the-door tickets and stuff. Normally, I usually check it out for one of the days. It's interesting to see. I love sticking in the area where you got all the little board games and stuff.
Sounds like fun.
we'll try some of it out, I guess.
Have you ever tried Flying Monkey Settlers? It's a great game.
What docs have played board games? I gotta think about that one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're trying to get us addicted to Settlers in 2 games now.
No, this isn't Settlers of Catan. This is Flying Monkey Settlers.
Yeah,
it's a
this is
very
different.
different game. You have flying monkeys that you use to settle land.
Trying to get us addicted to Settlers in 2 games.
Uh-huh. I enjoy the city of Plork. That was a good name to come
It's a good name, Plork.
Welcome to Plork. Anyway, you'll be given a room on the 3rd floor. As I said, it's a four-floor hotel. As it's one of the larger buildings. Like, yeah, again, 4 floors seems to be like top buildings and kind of thing. It's I'd say like medium of the road kind of hotel. So it's not your like upscale like really rich places that are like you obviously can tell like you're spending like a lot per night. This is like kind of in the middle of the road, so it's decent, it's nice. It probably has some climate control, a really nice bathroom, that kind of thing. Probably a small fridge, TV with some basic channels, Ossian television, which is unusual. There's like there's a sitcom like I Married a Kangaroo.
Another one for Mishka and Thursday to watch all night.
Uh-huh.
Nice.
And annoyed Docs because I'm sure Docs hates it.
Yeah.
Doc finds a chair, kicks his feet up, and pulls out a flask.
Mm-hmm.
Starts at it already.
Of course, downstairs is the bar and restaurant, the Masakin Bar. It's called like Taste of the Sun.
Taste of the Sun.
And
Ooh,
flying
fancy.
Monkey settlers. I spelled monkey wrong. Mm-hmm. You tell it's a good day for me because I spelled flying monkey settlers wrong. I spelled monkey with a K-D-Y. I'm like, wait a second. That's not
how you spell that.
What?
I think I just mistyped it.
there.
I think I just mistyped it. I think that was more mistype than misspell, but it happened. The convention also, if you want to know, is Nerd-O-Ramacon. There you go. Nerd-O-Ramacon.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. And it's Nerd-O-Ramacon Lethero, or Leviroto. There's apparently a couple of them across the world. There you go. So yeah, the Taste of the Sun. It's got really interesting food. Again, like Mostica is kind of Central American, so it's kind of got this, I would guess, like Mexican feel, yeah, of it kind of thing. You know, so it's got like tortillas and things like tacos, burritos. Probably just slightly different from real world to be their own thing, but still interesting. I would say, like, if I knew some more ancient traditional, like, dishes and how they've evolved into modern-day dishes within the Central American region, I could actually give some lists of stuff and how the, where the influences of the Spanish kind of came into it. I could kind of define this well, but I don't, so I'm just going to pretend like I do.
I mean, realistically, all food has, all characteristic food has food types from all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, I mean, like, there's, like tomatoes are not native to Italy, but they use a lot of tomato sauce in like traditional Italian food,
Yeah,
etc.
yeah.
So
It's the unfortunate thing that, like,
food's all over the place.
food evolved a lot. So, like,
Yeah.
I can say it's kind of like a little slightly different, but mostly, like Mexican kind of Central American food. That's what Mostican food is. And it's a pretty nice restaurant. I'd say it's not like super expensive, but I would say it would like be like your if I was comparing it to American levels of restaurants, I'd say it would be like around the level at like, you get charged at a Olive Garden or a Outback, or a little bit more. I'm using price ranges from restaurants to kind of define this, and it's not great. Anyway,
Hey, you guys should try this. It's called the pupusa.
yeah. There's also probably like tequila here,
Oh God, don't tempt me.
and like fancy like fluttery drinks, And the area actually is like really like there's some like traditional Mostican music going on. There's like, a very nice theme of Mostica there. There's a lot of talking. It's like a very busy place. It's very, friendly. The waiters and waitresses will kind of like, chat with you a little bit kind of thing. It just has a really nice atmosphere to it, the entire place.
The interesting aspect is there's probably goblins trying to dress as human characters and humans trying to dress as like goblin characters.
Yes.
That'd be interesting.
Oh boy.
The tabaxi in a human costume, and the
Oh
human
no,
in a
it's the
tabaxi
reverse
costume.
furry.
It's the reverse furry. You probably have those.
It's a human Sona.
Since there's not just humans, they're probably like skin Sona or something,
God, don't. Oh no, it's cursed.
Have you
I'll
checked out
make
my
it so much
have-
more cursed in half a second.
This is
Have you checked out my skin Sona?
this is my skin Sona, Peter.
It's just the way that it stretches out. I hate it.
so bad. Oh, I hate it.
I have to now go into Discord on my phone to check this.
Thanks, I hate it.
Uh,
Oh my good lord.
Yup. Yeah, that seems about right. That seems about right.
I'm just gonna post this in the Records of Evil chat with no context.
Yes, please.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. I mean, then there's also, like, the dragon who can shape change into, like, his favorite character, quite literally. So he's just like, look, dude, perfect costume. And I'm like, you're using magic, you're cheating. I spent hours working on this. It's like, not my fault you don't have magic. That's why you get pawned by me when we're playing online.
Oh god, nerds.
I just imagine a nerd dragon in a headset playing video games.
Oh god. If only this was the universe that existed.
Oh. Alright, before we worry about if you're actually going to Fantasy Comic-Con, I mean, Nerd-O-Ramacon.
Legally distinct.
Legally distinct. We'll take our break here and we'll figure out if you're doing that as really today's episode.
God.
Because I came up with it, and therefore it must be done. Alright. If you need a drink, snack, bathroom break, go ahead and do that. We'll be back in a little bit. It's so great. Alright, we've returned. I cough, but as soon as I start this up, it causes me to cough. Look at that. But welcome back to Records of Evil. Our group here is staying in Leviroto in Osse, in a local hotel, where there is the Taste of the Sun restaurant in the bottom of it. And,
more important question is do they sell Capri Sun?
do they spell Capri Sun? Not there, at least.
Do they
You might-
sell...
I know.
joking.
I avoided that joke. I sensed it. The Capri Sun joke.
Oh no.
So you've learned that there is Nerd-O-Ramacon going on in the city, and you have the choice of, well, you could head out. I put my finger in my dipping sauce there for my
Nice.
sticker fingers.
Mmm.
It's like a sweet and spicy wing sauce that I got for it, rather than normal. Anyway,
Hey.
hey, we thought you were here.
No, my
Yeah, we
cats.
did.
Cats cause problems.
Okay, we went back. We thought you were here.
No, it's my cats. Who like to cause problems.
Cats?
Unmute me before I'm ready, but it's fine.
I mean, you could have had a cat spider if you didn't murder it.
You killed another spider?
No.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Mishka's gonna be so sad. She's gonna get the platypus out of spite.
So, yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, there's probably like an exotic pet store in town. You can see if they have a platypus.
Just a small, it has a small baby one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably like the size of like a medium dog.
I want it. If it's there, I want it. I'm
Wait,
gonna buy
sorry.
it.
Ugh.
It's tiny. There's apparently like a convention going on. You have the option of staying in town for a couple of days and waiting for it. Like, you don't necessarily have a time frame. It's just up to you folks to discuss and decide if you want to experience this weird convention that's going on, or if you want to continue on your journey now. You don't know if you'd be back in time for it if you did want to check it out from where you're heading to. So it's that kind of thing of like, if you wanted to see it, you probably have to wait around. Discuss in amongst yourselves.
So are we
Imagine not
staying?
wanting to
Are we
stay.
staying for this thing?
We might as well.
I think it'd be a good idea to get going to what we need to, but if you all decide to, I'd stick around.
What about you? What about you, Thursday?
Ah, the thing is, we've never really been rushed on our timing, and we've always checked out very interesting things. We're one to go visit places and check out local sites occasionally when we're visiting these places. I don't know why we would stop now. Like when we went our tour down the coastline, the Sword Coast and stuff, we made sure to check out the local historical sites and things like that just a little bit at least. Sure, it took our trip a little longer, but sometimes you see some interesting stuff.
I'm sure seeing that stuff was very fun. Yes. He squints annoyingly.
It was quite fun. There was that time that thing happened that totally Thursday would probably remember but not remember because it's Jess, and that I do not remember.
Oh, poor Jess has been called out.
I wouldn't remember it either.
Well, I guess we're staying then.
Excellent. Alright, so you can stay for a few days. What do you want to do? Apparently the convention starts in 2 days. So you're like 2 days early for it. There's probably like museums and stuff to check out in town. As I said, it's I would call it like a medium-sized city, so it would be something more akin to Harrisburg here in Pennsylvania, for those of you that know Pennsylvania. Harrisburg is a decent-sized city, but is nowhere near the size of something like a Philadelphia or a Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I don't know what I would compare it to in other states.
Yeah.
State capitals are usually pretty small, so that...
Yeah, so it's sort of like the size of a state capital, when probably the actual capital of the state is the bigger city, just because of the nature of it, of the terrain.
Well, it depends on the state. Obviously, New York's capital, New York City is...
It's not.
Albany's
it's
the
not
capital.
Albany. It's Albany.
See, I'll be honest, I probably knew... I feel really dumb, because I realized the moment I said it, I'm like, it's not, is it?
No. It's like...
I'm like, I've always assumed it, but I've never actually, thought about it.
Like, California has some very big cities in Los Angeles and San Francisco, but Sacramento is its capital.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know that one.
Well, I mean, you should... Hopefully you would. If you didn't, that would be a little...
Yeah. What would Doc's do in these 2 days?
There's places to check out shopping that could be done. You don't really have to resupply very well your vehicle, because you did manage to plan out for the trip pretty well. Again, because these are large day trips that don't have much civilization in between them, you kind of planned out for that period of time, especially, it was more for, like, if there is car trouble, you had stuff for it, more than anything. And especially the farther you go on beyond here, the more wild it certainly will be.
I guess Docs will go and I guess just sample the local culture of the city. Some foods, a little bit of shopping, sightseeing.
Okay. Certainly, like, there's local shops. There's this interesting fashion that they have in, like, some of the main stores around here that seems to be mixing what you would have in a, I guess, traditional Ossian outfits and stuff with more, like, Faerunian sensibilities or something. There's definitely a heavy influence from Faerun, you see, but you also do see that there's a Karatoran influence, because it seems like those two regions are the major regions in the world, and as if development. As I said, unlike our version of Europe, which basically sent their influence to the entire world, Karator, in this version, their version of Asia, did a pretty good job of doing that also, so they rivaled pretty well. And unfortunately, the other regions didn't as well. Sorry, Cholt and Toral's version of Africa and all of that, Americas. You guys got shafted again. Though by two regions instead of one. regions for the price of one.
Right.
So yeah. Again, you can also like have that there is probably other restaurants to check out if you wanted to see some more things like that. There's also some museums and stuff, probably sites to see. Probably like because this town is old, in fact. During those early times so it's like a couple thousand years old. This town here, in fact. It was a small settlement back in the original Ossian days that apparently like there's a statue of a person that was probably slightly outside of your time frame that was known for when he was on his walkabout. He ended up in Faerun and assisted in some form of incident and gained some notoriety because of that.
Ooh. Has anyone followed Docs from the party?
Thursday would probably be shopping for probably something, either clothes or something rather. I don't know. I just feel like she'd go on a shop.
Roselle's gonna go figure out what this whole anime thing is all
Oh
about.
no.
It's
Oh,
not.
no.
It's not. You're diving deep. Like you had a chance to watch some of it. Like there was the kid and his flump, you know, from the classic Caratorian or that was Caratorian.
I was more in a business mindset at that point.
Yes.
Since we're actually taking a couple days to be here, I might as well check it out.
Yes. That was a classic Kozukura. Because Kozukura and WoW both have very similar animation styles, but are slightly different. And recently, Kurio has been getting into it. Though Shoulong got into it in their own style of kind of animation, but they more like, you know, live action stuff. They've got a bustling, you know, martial arts movie business in Shoulong and Tulong.
Oh, nice.
It's basically China, and there's two Japans and there's a Korea, and that's why I'm saying this version's Korea has recently been getting into the animation field too, as influenced by WoW and Kozukura, who have been competing in the animation field, you know. So it's like, even though there's not one company, it's kind of like Disney and Hanna-Barbera or something like that, you know. I don't know.
Is there a Hollywood in? Is there like a Hollywood in?
Sure. I have to see my favorite map, and I'm just going to give you where that would be. Where would be a good entertainment industry in Faerun? There's probably one major one, and probably like some minor places to it too. I'm actually off the top of my head not sure which of the Faerun cities.
Yeah, because if you put it in, you'd actually put it in Faerun.
I think the version of Hollywood would probably have existed in Faerun because, again, like, Faerun has colonies and stuff, but they weren't like. They never had the chance to develop because they're often very dangerous places to the level of, oh, I know where frickin' Hollywood would be. Lantani would. Lantan would have developed moving pictures first. I'm not joking with that one. The gnomes would have invented it.
Oh yeah, no, the gnomes would have invented it. Yeah,
the gnomes would have been the site, the core of it. So that's why probably now granted, it's probably spread in a lot of other places. There's probably no centralized Hollywood necessarily, but the old Lantan Pictures still is one of the major studios and puts out a lot of entertainment. So it's a lot of, at least even if it's not starring gnomes, it's at least funded by gnomes. Gnomes have a big stake in the entertainment industry.
Oh no.
They also have a big stake in big tech too, because you know they probably developed cell phones at some point.
Probably invented the computer.
Gon's like, hey guys, how about this thing? Like, if you can talk with people at a range, you know, we already worked on the telephone. You know, we can make it like a mobile telephone or something. And they're like, sure, Gon, that seems awesome. You keep giving us these cool ideas, and I'm like, look, guys, you know, It's taken me just as long as you to develop these things. I thought you'd be good when I gave you gunpowder, but apparently not. Anyway, now that I've been very silly, the dwarves might have worked on the internal combustion engine. Honestly speaking, I feel like dwarves like developing like steam power and using coal and oil first would have probably been a big one.
That would make sense for dwarves, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dwarves probably contributed to the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah.
More than
yeah.
the
No.
Tech Revolution.
Yeah, the tech revolution was based upon by gnomes, but dwarves had like the industrial revolution, so it's kind of a combination of the two of those, and probably a little bit of human ingenuity in there because that's where the humans kind of fit, was human ingenuity in this entire thing. So it's probably was a joint effort between a bunch of different people. So it's probably like if we look back in the Taurolian history books, it probably would have been like, you know, at some point in time, you know, either one of these races came up with it, or a joint group of a bunch of different races. And I mean, like, I feel like elves did some crazy shit too, but they probably were more on the, you know, like kind of more environmental type stuff.
Elves developed clean energy.
Yeah, that probably is true.
Would make sense.
Like all of you burning coal, we have this thing called a wind turbine
Yeah.
and a solar panel.
Yeah. But you must harvest the energy of the sun.
Like plants do.
Mm-hmm. Like plants do. Like our tree, like, because we have like tree skyscrapers and stuff like that, you know? Magitech power armor.
Oh no.
Actually, they might have tech magic. Honestly speaking, they might be working on that. They haven't reached that point in time.
I mean,
you're still modern place. Power
You
armor.
literally offered to us to multi-class into like a city mancer or whatever it was.
I did, I think, at one point in time. I've given you a lot of options. I give my games options, and when they don't take them, sometimes I forget about those options. I'm forgetful.
Rolled to see how interested yourself gets into anime.
Oh no. Oh no.
Uh-huh.
She finds it all right.
We're gonna come back and Roselle's gonna just be hugging a body pillow.
Mm-hmm.
If I roll the 100, yes.
Mm-hmm. So, a couple days will pass, and you'll see the city kind of picking up. The hotel will get more busy. A lot more people will come in. You'll see all kinds of like a group of all kinds of races begin to like kind of assemble. Like, you know, there's like a you do notice that they do have like specialized like it looks like you guys are on the you folks are on the third floor. So the third floor and fourth floor are very traditional rooms. The first and second floor have some rooms that are set for more unusual races. So like you get like you'll notice that there's like a centaur in there too, you know. So there's like rooms accommodated for centaurs and like other like, you know, four-legged creatures, you know. The weirdest thing that you will see is at one point, like you'll come down into it, and there is what looks to be a beholder in a like a kind of like weird almost shirt that says like that's got like one of the anime figures of something you've been watching for Cell on it. That's kind of hanging down from the bottom of his body, like it's just like under his chin instead of Heinz dang from it.
No.
And he's like telekinetically lifting like a set of bags.
So,
My god.
beholders become more like the thing of their fancy.
Uh-huh. He learned how to do the anime sparkle with his central eye. Uh-huh.
It's a magical girl beholder.
Activate magical girl transformation! Blah!
Oh no, that's cursed.
I am pretty!
I have a lot of cursed images today.
Wait. Uh-huh.
Oh boy. Oh.
Yes, there you go. Anime beholder. It's very pretty looking. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Uh-huh. So yeah, so there's like there's a big convention in town. You know, there's a lot of folks that seem to be coming in from actually, it looks like all across the world. There's definitely some people that you know, traveled in, you know, ahead of time over like long-term traveler stuff. You will like apparently also like something that you guys didn't really get into a lot of because you didn't think about it is there are a couple of key areas in the world where there's like teleportation between them, but that tends to be very expensive. So you got some like rich nerds coming in through that, and then had to travel in through across Osse, you know, on special buses and stuff too, probably coming in. Because we talked about all the other travels. But I think we might have mentioned teleportation before when we first started, and we're like, that's probably expensive and not a lot of it. Because, you know, magic kind of going on the DL a little bit. Not completely.
Yeah. Well, existing teleportation circle transportation might still exist, because that stuff lasts forever, supposedly.
Mm.
Yeah.
But it's
You
probably
can, like,
regulated highly by people that
Oh,
wanna control it.
probably.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah. And charge you an arm and a leg. Anyway, so like, yeah, there's people from technically all over the world coming in, some of them that have taken a lot of time to. Again, there's a lot of travel, but you could probably, at this point in time, with how fast things are, you know, get across the world in a week at most, you know, if you're taking very slow travel. Faster if you've got, like, other things arranged. Which there is. They're probably, like, you know, like, this like at one point in time, like you're walking the streets and like in front of a different hotel, like this massive dragon will land and then transform into a little person. After taking his bags, like putting them down nicely so then he could pick them up as a person.
Boy.
But how many? It's a. We'll say it's a 4-day convention. How many days do you want to stay for the convention? It's the weekend convention, so it probably starts like a Thursday and goes through a Sunday.
Oh yeah.
Saturday's the big day.
Do we stay for the whole thing?
Eh. I find it somewhat interesting, but not so much to stick around.
We do have a job we're supposed to be doing.
We could take it a day at a time and see how we like it.
Yeah, we could.
Okay. So Thursday will come. You'll get your at-the-door registration. You'll have to wait in a line for a little while. And then it is Insanity. It's like a convention hall. They're like in one part that looks to be like a building specifically built for this kind of thing. There's all kinds of halls that have like all kinds of events going on. There's of course panels. There's like a big open room where they're showing off a whole bunch of stuff. It looks like this convention kind of splits between like selling things separately. So like you go and check out and preview a lot of stuff in one area where they're previewing like things for movies, television, gaming of all kinds. And then they've got kind of like a selling room where they're selling a lot of like unique information. They probably have like gaming rooms and stuff like that. It's really insanity. People in all kinds of costumes. It's crowded, like hot. The area here is actually hot in general, and like they're probably the air conditioner's going on full, but there's still this like must of beings.
Sweaty nerd musk. That's the smell of this whole convention.
Mm-hmm.
It smells like PAX.
It is very much so like PAX meets Comic-Con or somewhere in between.
Minus the smell, the atmosphere does kind of remind me of the swamps of home.
It's a bit too warm for my liking. Never thought I'd say this, I kind of miss Neverwinter.
You'll see also, like, there are things like, waterproofing for a gaming system. So that if you're an aquatic or swamp-based species, you too can do gaming, even in a wet area. Mm-hmm.
Oh no, nice.
Mm-hmm.
I guess dogs will just look around and see things.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe check out, I don't know, some video games or something.
Yeah, you can probably check out some video games. There's some very interesting ones. There's like there's of course like
I'll slightly more interested in video games.
There's some standard things that would probably go, like survival kind of games probably do very well. Horror have their things there. There's RPGs, even though like it looks like sci-fi is pretty big on stuff. You know, rather than the kind of traditional fantasy that we would think of, there's a lot of like alternate dimension, you know, like weird elemental kind of power kind of things where so it's like kind of like everybody has magic would be like a magical fantasy world, you know, rather than just a few people, you know, like, or something like that. Or like there's worlds where there's no magic in it that are just your which for us would be just bog standard, you know, like medieval, but there's worlds like that. You're like, wow, a world with no magic, you know, though magic's on the fringe or something. There's a lot of like
instead of Dragon Quest, Human Quest in my brain just goes, yes, it's a dragon trying to defend his horde from humans.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's probably like, you know, like some very unusual simulators of various things, you know. There's like some sports games, you know. There's like the dinosaur racer. Like the year that it is, Dino Racer there, and it's got like everybody's favorite dinosaurs. So it's like the it would be like the wrestlers meets NASCAR kind of game, you know, like a wrestling game meets NASCAR. There's probably a bunch of like movies that are coming out and they're showing off. They got their latest, you know, like there's probably something like superpowers are still something that like exists in like comic books and stuff because they're a lot like beyond normal magic. You know, they're like
that makes sense.
Powers
Is
are
there-
extreme.
Is
for
there
that.
an sorry, go ahead.
The interesting idea though is superpowers often are like a scientific way of explaining almost like a magical power. Does that mean there are people who like fall into a vat of pixie dust and gain their superpowers?
Yeah, it's something, it's silly stuff like that, you know, it's sort of like, you know, after being exposed to great deals of magical energy, they've gained powers beyond normal mortals and even most divine beings. The ability just to randomly fly without wings or anything, or magic, constantly.
But is there Marvel's greatest character, Asbestos Lady?
I forgot that she was a person. Didn't she die of cancer?
She died of mesothelioma.
What she get? I forgot about her. And randomly was the Human Torch.
Misha would be distracted by the plushies, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a
big stands of plushies are?
oh shit, plushies?
There are plushies.
Is there like an equivalent of Warhammer in this universe? I feel like Docs would be into Warhammer.
This is probably like a miniatures game. They use most of like the standard races that are out there in Faerun, though like occasionally like they have more like fanciful group of like either like really unusual things like you can use this group of metal men. They call them Warforged.
Oh no.
Because that's a Eberron thing and not really a Faerun thing. Mm-hmm.
Docs would definitely be a Wood Elf player if Warhammer existed. Just real shitty person.
I can't remember what they're called, but in Greyhawk, there's like a something akin to Dragonborn, but they're really different. There's like a dragonkin there. That like they have like wings and stuff, unlike Dragonborn, so they're a little bit more dragony. And they tend to also serve like evil dragon gods and stuff too there. But anyway, some of those kind of things. There's some weird stuff that I can bring in from some of the other realms that can be there, and like some weird like, you know, alien stuff too. There's like planetary tours of like, you know, that you can like sign up for. Because again, remember I said there's some like limited like things with like space travel and spell jamming and stuff, you know, and because you can use magic to help complement your ability to fly into space, certainly, and spell jamming existed. So like you can go on like there's like, you know how like they usually have those like tours for like going to places in the world. They've got like a planetary tour thing going on there, you know, that you can visit some of the other worlds in the solar system. A combination of technology and magic to take you to the stars. Yeah, so there's a lot of crazy stuff going on there, and it kind of crazy.
There's a Spelljammer video game.
Probably there is a Spelljammer video game, yeah. There's probably like it's probably not called Spelljammer, but there's a video game where like you have like super advanced Spelljammer ships that you use to, you know, conquer the galaxy or something. I don't know, you know, a la Stellaris, only it's like magic Stellaris.
Docs will probably just look at some miniatures games if something like that exists.
That was my role for Roselle to get into role-playing games.
Mm-hmm.
She apparently really likes fantasy D&D or whatever.
Oh god, what would D&D's version of D&D be in a fantasy game?
Oh god.
Oh my god.
That's something to think about.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
Only human. No, not even human. Just humans doing normal our world things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. In like a medieval section.
So probably more like World of Darkness.
Maybe. I mean, there's certainly things that you could have. Like, you could have something akin to a World of Darkness or something where, like, you know, there's shadowy...
Magic is actually this unknown thing that's in the darkness.
Uh-huh.
It's just The Sims.
Yeah. Like, I feel like things like futuristic sci-fi-based game systems would do well because that's something that hasn't existed. And you could do, like, definitely your average just science fiction where magic kind of disappears, or sci-fantasy ones where magic exists because magic exists in this world. But the equivalent to, like a D&D, it would be like... I feel like that would be, like... Make up one of the other planes. Like, you know, like the Dragonlance plane, the Greyhawk, Eberron. It's playing in those worlds where they're kind of slightly different, have different rules and stuff, you know, and like things like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's where you get weird training and stuff, and they probably have completely different sets of like spells and stuff. You know, like it's like acid ball. That's so crazy. I'm gonna use acid ball. It'll explode in a burst of acid, burning all my enemies. Can't you actually cast fireball? Yeah, but that's real life. That's not in game. It's highly unrealistic to use acid for that spell.
Oh god, there would be people like that who just get real uppity about spells.
Yeah.
God damn it.
I just feel like a wizard nerd playing like their version of Faerunian D&D, like, you know, like be like, that's real life, and this is in the game, and in real life we can manipulate the powers of fire or lightning with third circle spells. In the game, I can use ice or acid. Those aren't in real life. I have heard wizards that use special abilities or sorcerers that use special abilities to replace them, but no, that's not a standard spell.
This character is talking. Someone is gonna end up talking to Brissel.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Your cleric serves Blorbion, the god of mustaches.
Oh.
As a cleric of Blorbion, you can summon facial hair. This facial hair is under your control.
Someone with an itchy nose.
No. It's under your control, and therefore you can use it, the facial hair that you've summoned on an opponent, to try to entangle them.
Oh my god.
This is fascinating. I need to play this.
Blorbion, god of mustaches.
I come away with a rulebook or two.
Fox has purchased the equivalent of a wood elf and treekin army, which in real life is like expensive.
Blorbion, god of mustaches.
Warhammer will bankrupt you. Never get into it.
Oh,
Yeah, Mishka will probably just come back with like a bunch of like animal plushies and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. You found a dire platypus plushie.
Absolutely. She has 2 of them because one of them will go to her real dire platypus.
So can have a pet one. Yeah.
Yes.
Uh,
She's grinning specifically at Docs when she explains this.
Are you gonna go to that exotic pet store?
She's gonna go to the pet store, yes.
Okay. Sure. We can say that you can probably find an exotic pet store that could totally, perhaps, have a good old dire platypus in it for sale.
Yes.
There are plenty of pet stores that sell really dangerous things that they shouldn't sell, but they sell them anyway.
Yeah.
Now, when you look after the little boy, you gotta be careful about it. This one's just recently weaned off its mother. They make okay pets, but be careful, their spittle's kind of hard to clean up. You're going to want some of this stuff here. It breaks down any of their nests if it puts it in an unusual spot. You're going to want to find a nesting zone for it. And also, I recommend having a fire extinguisher nearby at all times, just in case it starts. If it gets nervous, sometimes they belch fire. The fire belching's really mostly used for hunting, so if you're not hunting stuff down, if it's not hunting stuff down naturally and you just keep fighting it, you usually don't have to worry about it. But it might belch out if it gets nervous. Right?
Yep.
Good luck with you. Ah! You can like hold it in your arms, and it's like kind of like just in there, you know, and it's 6 legs, kind of like blurped down, like it kind of like opens its mouth and goes. Rah! You also have like probably like a leash for it or something, kind of more like a harness.
Perfect.
There, you have a baby dire platypus.
Now you must make it a character sheet so it can be in danger.
That sounds about right.
And invasive species in D&D must just be the worst to deal with.
They are definitely awful.
We have to tell Jess that we have dire platypus.
Well, no.
I'm sure Docs is very happy.
Probably. That broke. It sent me out of roll 20.
Oh, nice.
Yay.
DM is gone.
No, yeah.
So I guess I'm now the DM. So,
I'm in
so
DM
we all,
spot
look,
still.
he's
find
back.
a way
I'm still in DM spot. Thank you very much.
This is gonna like over the rest of this adventure is gonna become like the dad didn't want dog, dad was dog.
Yeah. Exactly. This is what's gonna happen for sure. That or he's always just gonna be upset with Mishka for having this. Either way,
I'm not cleaning up after it.
you don't have to.
It's your responsibility.
Just leave it at
Handles.
Lorbeon, god of mustaches, can be the
Yep.
thing.
I'm writing up the homebrew for it now.
It's gotta be like it's gotta be like stupid fantasy or like just really weird fantasy that just works really. That's their setting. You know, it's just gonna be like as weird as you think like any modern day setting of D&D would be. It's just they gotta like come up with like the weirdest thing. You know, like really weird deities with weird powers that are like
The main ability of a cleric of this god is the hair attack from Pathfinder, but it's just a mustache.
And they have also the ability to like summon mustaches and entangle people with them. So like the mustache appears on a person, and like, then the mustache grows and entangles them. You know, it's like.
I can just imagine just giving someone a random ass mustache that then strangles them. So...
They practice hairmancy. There's different levels of hairmancy.
Hair mats, oh no.
Oh god. Is there anything else you want to do at Fantasy Comic-Con? I mean, Nerd-O-Ramacon?
I mean, is there anything like? I already bought things. I feel like we've experienced enough of nerd culture.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you wanted to go to like, you know, the costume contest or certain things that are going on, there are probably like a list of events. I don't that's like a combination of like Comic-Con, PAX, and an anime convention, like that kind of list. So there's probably like a masquerade contest, a costume contest, probably some kind of rave, video.
I go to a costume contest in my like full Asmodeus robe outfits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, why do you travel
Yeah,
with that? It's like, so like, you still travel with that?
Of course, never know when your priestly duties will be necessary.
Dox is just over it. He hates our group.
Doc goes off on his own for a little bit, away from the group to do something. Doc's gonna find a little quiet spot somewhere. And he's gonna dig in his coat pocket. And he's gonna pull out an old wedding ring. He's gonna sit there and look at it for a little bit. Sadly.
Oh, he's sad.
And he's gonna start drinking.
Drink their blood.
Not now.
Pick their heads.
I actually didn't hear that one. I shouldn't. I need them still.
You're stronger without them. They're weak.
They're useful.
Their blood is useful.
Later. I prefer not to right now. Maybe.
Maybe.
I can already see Mishka being the first one that this sword with his dogs to kill.
Kill her in her back.
I just got him.
Anyway, all right, we'll kind of, I figure that's kind of like our big thing for your Comic-Con, kind of Nerd-O-Ramacon. If there's anything else you folks want to do, think about it. We're going to take our second break here, and if not, we'll kind of end up the convention kind of side of things and start moving on your way towards your next goal, which is, of course, Ulatara. So if you need a snack, drink, bathroom break, we'll take our second break here and come back for it in a bit. See you in a little bit, folks. I'm back. We're back!
Hello.
With
Hey.
Gloria, God of Mustache, is still on the screen there. That's the thing that will be there.
Perfect.
That will be there forever now.
Yep.
I can readjust. Why is the position for Blorbion and his friends not great? I don't know. Must have messed around with it at some point in time. Anyway, so welcome back. Our team here enjoyed Fantasy Comic-Con, also known as Nerd-O-Ramacon, which might actually be a real thing somewhere. Honestly speaking, after I said it, I'm like, there could be an actual Nerd-O-Ramacon.
There can be a convention named anything now. Well, not now, hopefully.
Yeah. Online conventions.
There is not. There's a Mega Game-O-Ramacon, so I was close. Not a Nerd-O-Ramacon. Hey, I came up with an original one.
Trademark
Someone
it.
will probably steal that.
The website will be up in an hour.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Plan
But,
for 2 days from now.
Completing your adventures within the this version of Comic-Con, I assume you at least spend that first day there. Whether you spend another day there or not, up to you. But at some point in time, you decided it's time to depart. You've enjoyed hitting into like a culture that kind of exists mostly in the probably very heavily in the internet. Again, because like we've talked about how like world travel, it's there but not as good as we got now. So like the information network and the fact that like there are satellites that connect the world that's probably the biggest way that are connected. Because people can't travel as much, they're more all connected through internet stuff, you know? It's kind of like a little, I'm curious as to how their online culture develops in comparison to ours, and I can't really determine that, because we got both. I can go to a place, and I get information to that place.
What kind of memes exist in this universe? That's what I want to know. What are the memes in Toril like?
They are probably very different than ours.
But memes nonetheless.
And what are they live streaming, and what's it like?
Oh yeah, what's their equivalent to Twitch?
Oh god, yeah. They probably have an equivalent to YouTube also, with all like the videos and stuff, you know. Anyway, so it is time to continue on your journey, and the next morning, after you finished up your convention adventures, you head out, hoping to get to Ulatara. Now, you do know that Ulatara is still a little bit more than a day away. You're going to have to stop at another small town. Though, thanks to Furcell's quick research, you know there is a small town about 2/3 of the way there that you can stay at also. That should be along your path. It's actually a little bit off the main trade route that heads to Ulatara. But like it's like a smaller kind of side road that is semi-paved? Is there a semi-paved roads?
There'd be like, I mean, I think
gravel.
Gravel would I think be the closest equivalent.
Yeah, there's some gravel
'cause
roads.
they're-
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like purposefully laid gravel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, keep a road more suitable than...
Then rather just a dirt road. There's some gravel roads that head off it, like a mile off the road. There's a gravel road that heads to this small town, basically, off the main trade route that you're going to be getting onto. Give me a second, folks, and see if this is anything important. Blue? The answer is no.
Nice. Dox is also
love
currently wearing. Dox is also wearing a wedding ring now.
I love random phone calls that aren't anything, but they pretend to be.
Oh, they're so good.
Whoever gave out my cell phone number, I bring death upon them. Just death upon them. Though again, it might be my mom used it for something by whatever reason, and then she technically gave it out. But whatever, then I'll be like, Mom. Anyway, it's a bit of a different. It's Thurmingtonville is the town. Thurmingtonville. So Thurmingtonville is definitely another small town. And this one, it seems a little bit more, even smaller than the last one, than Plurg was. Thurmingtonville appears to just be a couple of houses, a bar. There's not even like, seemingly like, there's not really necessarily like a motel or anything to stay in. There is like, I would call it more like traditional inn meets bed and breakfast kind of thing. So it's like a building someone owns and lives in that they also like have rooms for people to stay in if they're traveling through the town. You know? So somewhere in between a B&B and a traditional like D&D inn. So that's the place to kind of stay at there. So it's like a series of like 10 buildings, you know, in this little area behind a wall, which is the one kind of gravel road in. They're closed up by the time you get there. You have to get a hold of someone, where they have like someone watch the walls at night, you know, and they can like open the door for you and get you inside. And once you're in there, you know, you can park. Again, like, it looks like the bar/tavern is the place to both get food and drink, etc. And seems to be the place that most of this town of 10 houses lives in, or lives out of, you know. There's probably like a giant like worm monster head mounted at the wall. A la, like, if you've ever seen Tremors 2, where he's got the worm monster, like, mounted behind him. It's that kind of thing.
Nice.
And they can tell you, actually, that that's a creature that stalks the Ulatara Wastes. Massive sandwurms. They call them diggers. And scientists got a better name for them, but that's what we call them, diggers. I had to go into the wastes one time because some of my kangaroo got spooked and went out there. Had to track them down. Lost 2 of them. Got the other 3 back. Well, I had to fight one of these worm things. I did it from inside its mouth. That's a small one. Get big enough to swallow a car.
Interesting.
And there's more stories of crazy shit that happened around this area, and drinking, and etc., etc., you know, the usual things, as the night will pass. And in the morning, the nice old lady that runs the, like, inn place will have, like, food set up, like a dining area, that's obviously connected to, like, a private living room, and connected to, like, a kitchen and stuff. So, again, like, it's not quite a B&B, but it's also not quite an inn, it's somewhere, like, in between. And it's got space for, like, maybe, like, half a dozen rooms, you know, like on upper floors and stuff, and it's kind of a little bigger of a place. So it's kind of an interesting place to stay at. But eventually, though, having spent your time in yet another small town, where the people are generally friendly. That's the thing, is the people are very friendly, they're very genial, they're welcoming of strangers, they seem to be a mixed bag of, like, species and stuff. Like at this place here, in Thurmingtonville, the person that runs a bar is another lizard folk that's really large, with kind of kind of this blackish gray scale patterning. It definitely seems to be the species of lizard man that lives out here. The subspecies seems to be like large sized. Actually, when you spend time in the bar, you will notice that there is a group of miners that seem to be here that are troglodytes.
Oh.
They apparently have been running what's the name of the mines that it's not like into a mountain or a hill, but it's going down in like the middle of like a desert or something? They have them in like the Old West. They had those types of mines.
Oh god. I want to say.
Yeah, they build the mine shafts down straight from like the surface of the ground rather than like into like a hill or something. You can find them abandoned throughout the Old West, I think. Like the drop mines. I can't remember what they're really called. They do that kind of mining though.
Oh, okay, interesting.
So like do a setup on the surface, dig down, you know, and like go into the earth that way. Looking for minerals. There apparently they look for rubies? Rubies are pretty big in this area. In this region. There's a couple of major ruby mines, and they're trying to look for minor ones. Or find new veins and stuff, areas that find them.
By the way, Docs hasn't had any alcohol the past day.
Surprising.
Are you alright, Docs? You haven't been drinking as much as you
It's gonna glare at you.
I like the ring. You should kind of like say quietly, like.
Thank you. I just don't feel like drinking.
Very well.
Sorry, I had to clear my throat.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh god. Well, should we get moving?
Yeah.
As you're getting moving, because I looked up for rubies, apparently you can find rubies in the U.S. by mining Montana, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Wyoming. So the Carolinas can sometimes find rubies. Interesting.
Ooh, fun.
I know. That's kind of neat.
That's fun trivia.
Yeah, little bits of trivia there for finding rubies in the real world. Pit mining. It's a type of pit mining, I would call it.
Okay.
You can head on your way, and you can notice that like as you're traveling this way towards Ulatara, the environment changes a little bit. One of the major things that you can kind of see is like the kind of hillless region that you were kind of in now before is kind of broken away to very flat ground. The ground is definitely flattened out. The amount of trees and scrub and grass seems to be pretty similar to what it was. It's just you're not finding a lot of those hills anymore. And as you're eventually then about halfway through the day, getting into the early afternoon, approaching Ultravara, you can note Ulatara, you can notice that things are actually drying out even. Less of the scrub is kind of showing up, and it's more broken up. There are less trees, in fact, too. Like, before, even in the hillless region, you could find, like, groves of trees, small forests, things like that around in different places. Now, it's the occasional tree, kind of very much more, like, a little bit African savanna-y, a little bit like Midwest U.S., you know, kind of the amount of trees you have in, like, the Great Plains kind of thing. You get occasional ones, but not really a lot. And then you get kind of, like, the tufts of scrub in various areas, and then areas that kind of is almost dry ground in between them. It's definitely, the environment is shifting. Ulatara is a city that I would describe definitely as smaller than Leviroto, but not tiny like those two villages you kind of stayed at. It is a city nonetheless. You can see that it has walls that seem to be made of some kind of sandstone. It has a little bit of like a different feel to the entire town too. There seems to be a number of buildings dedicated to various scientific study in here. Various groups from throughout the continent that send scientific groups to study things. And it seems to be like it's a staging ground not only for the wastes, but for the hunting grounds farther to the east.
By the way, mine that goes straight down is actually called a shaft mine.
Okay, so shaft mining. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what they use, a kind of shaft mining. You can definitely tell that there's also a little less, maybe, friendliness to the entire town. People seem a little bit more tense, on edge and stuff like that, but not necessarily completely, like, terse, you know? It just seems to be like people are a little, like, slower to say hi or something. They, like, maybe, like, eye you up a little bit before they go into, like, you know, their greetings and stuff. You can find, like, a kind of, I'd call it, like, a dirty motel, because everything feels a little, like, dusty in this area, too. As you can definitely feel that there's, like, a dust on the wind coming from the south. Like, there's, like, a southerly wind that seems to... I guess it actually is, it's a wind that would blow northeasterly down from the Yaramenar Mountains across the wastes and eventually coming across into this area here. So there's definitely like this level of like sand grittiness to everything. As the you know the dust from the waste kind of blows in slowly but surely. As I said, the wastes are probably not like actual sand; they're more like dirt. So it's probably like kind of like that kind of dirty, gritty kind of wind. So yeah, so it's more like that rather than sandy. There's definitely something like a little bit of on-edgeness in the town. Even like as like you kind of get into the motel, it's like, "Hi there, what can I do for you, travelers? What brings you to town and you need a room?"
Passing through, and yes.
Great. How many nights are staying for?
Presumably just one.
Then sign here. If you need to stay some extra days, let me know. And I'll give you a room
Very
key.
well.
If you haven't checked the weather, it's supposed to be dust storm tomorrow, so be careful.
Good to know.
There's a warning about traveling. Only go to, have you been to town before?
No.
Then definitely what you want to do is stay in your hotel rooms if you're in, or if you got to travel between places, keep it to a minimum. Dust storms often comes in here. Usually once every few weeks we get major one in like this one, and they are quite dangerous for those that aren't ready to be traveling outside in.
How many days will this dust storm last?
Well, you're probably best one out of everyone to deal with it, my reptilian friend. Your kind usually do. I'd recommend getting some goggles. Usually dust storm lasts a few days at most. 1, maybe 2. Worst one we had was about 3 years ago. Lasted 3 days. 3.5, about like that. Left about 6 inches of dust over everything.
Well, I guess we'll probably have to stay a couple of days then.
Right. Again, not that you can't travel during it, it's just it's recommended you don't. And, unfortunately it gets everywhere. Scaly kind like yourself probably deals with it best.
Yes, well sadly I'm traveling with 3 other companions who are not like myself.
Well then, best make sure they stay inside, or if they have to travel outside, keep it to a minimum. Be careful about vehicles. We'll try to clog up the air systems. I was going to call it something else, but I forgot about the what the word I would use.
Filters, intake.
The intake system.
Yeah, it would be intake.
Dust is very good at clogging up intakes, unless your car's built for it, and most people just don't bother. Expensive upgrade and all.
It's probably best we stay a couple days then.
Alright. We got a small restaurant attached to the building, if you need to take it. Nothing fancy, just some locals selling some food, you know. If you're looking for a local bar, it's a couple blocks down. You should be able to make it even out in the dust if you need a drink. Other than that, up to you to look into things. It's the best I can give you.
Thank you for the info.
Right, enjoy your stay. The rooms are basic motel rooms. It's like the motel rooms you stayed at the edge of the desert motel in back outside of Calimport. My names have been off point today of what things are called. You know, it's just like I've blanked out how many times of like, I should know this. Nope.
Yeah, probably something I have. It's not something I haven't experienced before, but at the same time, I probably also know it's probably the best traveling. So.
I will also note it is hot out. It is already hot out. I will say that like outside, it is probably low 90s in the shade, around 100 out in the sun at least. And it's got that kind of dusty, dirty wind. It is dry air though. Not completely dry. I'd say not quite desert dry, but you can definitely feel that there's much more of a dryness than the other places. Like even the other areas, it was probably a little drier than like when you were in other parts of Faerun. Honestly speaking, most of you are probably used to it because you live outside of Calimport, which is in a desert region. The only one that probably might have a trouble with it is Dox.
He's a northern boy.
Yes, you have moist air.
Yep.
You know, you don't deal with dry air constantly. As 3 of them deal with being in like a major port. Well, actually, they probably have like an odd thing because you're living in a major port out on in a desert region. So it's where the desert meets the ocean. That's always an interesting kind of thing. Where the hell is that happening? Like Egypt, Middle East a little bit? I know it happens that desert.
Yeah,
meets the ocean,
it does happen.
But I don't know if there's many like major ports that are in that area.
Maybe around the canal, Suez.
Yeah. There's a couple places, but yeah, off the top of my head, real world equivalent, really not able to give very easily off the top of my head. I'm sure they exist. So yeah, it's a kind of dry, dusty air, hot out, not humid at all, and you can just feel that there is a decent wind going on. Probably like a 10 mile per hour wind that gusts up to 20 right now, so there's definitely, it's windy out. What is your plan now that you're here? You're on the edge of the wastes. Granted, you might have to wait a few days for the latest dust storm to pass, before heading to the vein of the world. But I don't think we necessarily discussed. Were you planning on trying to get a guide into the wastes, or were you trying to like figure out information and go on your own?
I was thinking information on and then go on our own. However, I'd also be open to what other people
Guide
suggest.
might be smart.
It would be smart.
Yeah, just hopefully the guide won't try to kill us like the last time.
No. Your guide didn't try to kill you. The guy you rescued tried to kill you.
You're right.
And then he got one of your fellow crewmates killed, and your
Multiple of our crewmates killed.
okay, most of your fellow crewmates killed, and your poor Hispanic, or I played him up as being like Hispanic chul boat guide with text to speech on a phone.
Yeah.
I remember that guy. I can't remember his name, but I love that captain. I'd have to look up his name.
Dead now, though.
Oh no, the captain survived.
Oh no, he's alive.
His first mate, who was a troll, died.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Poor first mate troll. He
Rip
lost.
troll.
Did his best.
I mean, how good are many of us at trekking through the wastes and land?
We're probably not very good at it.
Oof. Sorry there. I took a bite while you were talking. I was gonna say something as Thursday, but it's that kind of thing of like I just got like sauce from my like wing on the top of my mouth, kind of stuck for a moment. So it's like also like it's stuck and making it hard to speak, and it's spicy because it's sweet and spicy like Asian wing sauce.
Oof.
I'm not going to do the accent to try to suggest things, but like Thursday will probably suggest the following things. Osse Vercel, you know that though there are no roads out there, you certainly could take your vehicle out there.
Yes. I think we did specifically get one that can go off-roading.
Yeah.
You actually might want to spend some time getting the intake fixed, because it's a very dusty region.
Yes.
To worry about like getting too much dust in the intake. Because you will notice there's a very fine dust that kind of rolls off. So it's like stuff comes off the mountain and it kind of rolls across the entire region, slowly but surely breaking down into the finest powder that gets blown across then into this area. That's kind of how like the entire thing works. So it's not like a sandy waste, it's just like a dirty, dusty waste. Also in the waste, it gets hotter too. You might have to think about stuff for protecting against heat too. The average temperature in the waste is around, for most of the year, probably between 115 and 120 degrees Fahrenheit.
Gross.
Oh, that's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
It's the worst thing.
Sorry, what was the temperature?
Between 115 and 120 on an average.
Okay.
That's
So
the
bad.
yearly average. You don't get a lot of changes across the year. Rain is incredibly rare. There's almost no rain in the
The
region.
dryness probably is more annoying to Vercel than the heat.
Yeah. The occasional rains cause massive flooding issue in a couple of the old. There is beds that are built into the entire system that will cause these things to swell with water suddenly and spray across like the landscape downriver, kind of tearing things with them. So like if rain comes, major flooding occurs quickly because the ground absorbs none of it. It is hard chalk ground that just is really bad absorbing water. But rain is very rare. It's like I think like there's Death Valley, there's rain in the Death Valley. It's kind of like that. There's not a lot.
If I saw a guide, would probably be best.
Yeah, 2.36 inches. Basically, they get that all in like small spurses. So I'm saying it's probably a little better than Death Valley. So it's between like maybe 3 and 4 inches a year throughout the entire year, and oftentimes it's in like heavy rainfalls when they occur. basically storms that roll off of the mountain range, coming up from the southwest. Sometimes will happen. Most of the time, the mountain range does actually do a good job of like forcing the rainy weather to go, kind of down it on a south easterly path. But when it goes northeast, is rare. Yeah, there is possible dragons in the region. I think, yeah, Brass and Blue are the two very desert-based ones, and you can find them sometimes in this region. There aren't a huge amount of dragons. There are also, you do have to worry about Titan creatures. There's a few Titan creatures that exist in the region. The Sandwurms. There's a lot of burrowing things. Most of the burrowing things burrow down to depths where water travels beneath the region, basically the subterranean kind of water regions. Most of the plants that you'll find, which are very short supply, have very long roots. If you might find a bush that might have like a 20-foot or 30-foot deep root going in order to get water. Deep, like below like the cracked earth area. And then they also absorb a lot of rainwater. They're built to absorb the rainwater with occasional rains. But there might be like kind of scrub bushes around. Other than that, it's like dry, chalky land. Not a lot of like vegetation at all. So most things either find nutrients below the earth or hunt things that burrow and stuff like that. And the Titan creatures have been known to feed on magical energies because, again, because of the veins of the world, there's a powerful like ley line of magical energy here. So you do have things akin to, I call them kaiju that roam the desert. They specifically have trouble living outside of it though, because of the large magical energy keeps them kind of in that region, because they feed on the natural magic energy. That's one of the reasons they don't leave the wastes very often.
Fun.
Yes. But, like, if we look at Pathfinder has actual stats for kaiju, they have their own giant monsters, but, you know...
Yep.
So it's akin to, like, some things like, you know, like Titan-sized monsters, I call them. Because there are, like, Titans behemoths in D&D and stuff, too.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So, they're, like... So there's big things like a Tarrasque, except it's easier to kill technically? Question mark?
Theoretically.
You don't have to cast Wish on it to get rid of it. If you should somehow kill it.
It's definitely a benefit.
But again, those are... there aren't a huge amount of them. Again, it's a large region. So when we say that there's maybe, I don't know, 500 throughout the entire region of various different species, that's still a lot. They will occasionally battle with each other, do their problems, find places to hibernate. If you see a mountain, it's probably not a mountain. It's probably a resting creature. The area is very flat. Other things to warn you about the region. You might have to worry about, especially during night, there are roving undead. The natural magic of the region oftentimes animates the dead as kind of like these, like, cursed dust zombies, which that doesn't really describe them very well, because they're closer akin to something like a juju zombie. They're smart undead.
Oh, nice.
But they're kind of like not quite a mummy, not quite a zombie. They're their own unique horrible thing that exists, that you're cursed if you die in this region and you just leave your body's left there. Again, because of the magical energies of it.
Yeah.
Phone, you better be something. You're the same number as before. Hello?
Oh,
It's
nice.
that number and it's nothing. I don't know who's actually trying to call me.
Well, this sort of conversation about like guide and what to do and what dangers is going on, Dox is gonna just kind of sneak off into his room and just kind of shut the door. He's gonna cast something. He's gonna cast major image in the room with him.
Okay.
And what's going to appear is another changeling man.
Mhm.
And Dox is just gonna sit there for a while for the duration of the spell with it.
Okay. So yeah, so Vercel, you get a good picture of the region. The major scientific teams tend to come in 3 groups. There's those that study the Titan type creatures. Again, they're unique creatures that survive on the magical energy that permeates the region. You know, it seems like the same magical energy. Actually, 4 groups. There's some that study the magical energy. The basics you can get from that are that the magical energy is one of the reasons why nothing grows in this area. It's too much. It's clouding a lot of stuff. The permeation chokes out a lot of like the life, and that's what causes it to actually be as wastelandy as it is. So strangely enough, it both supports massive Titan monsters, but it also kills off other stuff a lot of times. There's the subterranean life, which is an entire ecosystem that burrows through and does the thing with the sandworms that talked about at the top of the list. Where some gargantuan-sized sandworms are at the top of it, and there's some various subspecies that go below there. And there's also those that study that there is actually huge mineral contents and natural resources within the region, which are unfortunately very difficult to get at. So there's this
these burrowing monsters that can just plow through and destroy, like gigantic burrowing monsters which should plow through and destroy part of the mine you're working in.
Yeah. So there are things like, there are some very expensive materials that can be found in the region. The region's, in fact, known for both, it's got huge adamantine and mithril veins. Very few of them have been mined because the magical nature helped create them, but magical nature also makes it incredibly difficult to get at any of it.
It also makes incredibly dangerous monsters incredibly giantly huge.
Yeah. It's a very dangerous region. And it's kind of surprising to hear that, like, there are a few, I would call them settlements in the region that you can hear about. They tend to be, like, maybe a couple of houses and stuff, and they have ways of defending themselves, you know. They tend to be very, like, metal-heavy. They're supposed to be, like, a moving, what I would call tank settlement, almost, that's built of adamantine, that they specifically mined, that is like a, it uses a actual spell jamming engine to fuel it, because it draws upon the magical energy that's natural in the region. The thing is not great. It's run by a specific family, and how the hell they did this, they keep to themselves. But it's one extended family that runs this kind of like mining operation that they know to travel around in this kind of like this literal like construct tank run by a spell jamming engine that kind of mines the region. They tend to be in this the southwestern area of the map, though, closer to the mountains. So that's a unique storyline, but there is some like information on them. People have heard about them, they know about them. It's just like they don't take really kindly to strangers. You have to be kind of ingratiated in, and like they're not big on outsiders. They're also probably pretty heavily inbred. Just gonna say that. Technically speaking, you know, they don't get a lot of new blood in very often. When you live in a place that's like awful to the outside world. But, you know, all the stories of anybody living in that region are very unique like that. Or there's some people that have trained to like travel in amongst it using like shamanic, druidic magic and stuff to like, you know, avoid dangers. So it looks like if you do want a person to lead your way into the desert, you'd have to find some kind of druid who's trained in it. That would be the best guide. Who might have some magic switch with it. Yeah, like a specialized, it's actually not more than desert druid. It's specialized, like a wasteland druid, I'd almost call it. It's like because this place has their own unique druidic kind of level, I feel like they have their own druidic circles, and probably this is like, this might be like a circle of the land who has like their own special version of it that's built specifically for this wasteland. you know.
Yep.
But okay, so Dox is having
A moment.
a moment.
We'll put it that way.
Vercel has gotten some good research on the wastes, and you know what you must do. You have to fix up your car, wait through a dust storm,
Yep.
and then you do get the feeling that most likely a guide wouldn't be a bad idea, especially because there's a lot of saying that the guides oftentimes like will be with like scientific teams because they have magics that can do things like keep them out of the sight of titanic monsters and stuff, or keep the sandworms away, which are probably the most
guess in
dangerous
a
of the
couple-
burrowing predators.
I guess in the couple days we're grounded here, I'll look around for a druid who might
Okay.
either be stranded here, or who might be passing through here later, or
Yeah.
who might be nearby.
I mean, you probably get them coming into the town here occasionally anyway, because they're the people that walk the wastes, you know?
Yep.
There are some crazy druids in this place that do their, in quotation, walkabout in the wastelands. Usually those that do it learn the ways of the waste, and that becomes their training. Anyway, that's probably a good place to leave it there. We had some kind of interesting up and downs throughout the episode here. We did start, again, apologies for starting a little late. We had some delay on one person, and I had a bunch of technical issues that I had to get through, so, you know, that's a wonderful thing. And of course I didn't detect those until, you know, we had everybody.
That's when it usually happens.
Exactly. We
Yeah.
can't have those beforehand.
No.
No.
Never.
Uh-huh. Hopefully we'll be back next week. Hopefully Jess will be feeling better. She will be feeling
Hopefully.
better. You know. So, you know, everybody sell well wishes so she feels better and good enough for it. You know, we will continue next time where the idea will be to head into the wastes. You've gotten to the heart of Osse, pretty much, the center of the continent. You spent some time at a nerd convention, which was fun. You have a pet dire platypus, which I'm gonna guess the dire platypus should probably be like kept in someone's care here or something. I don't know. You might be able to bring it with you, but it likes
This
water.
thing is going to die if we take it.
Yeah, Misha will find a
And
place to
and,
keep it
and
safe.
Mishka will be broken.
Mhm.
Yeah, Misha would be so sad. So she's gonna make sure that it's safe in like somewhere.
We'll
in the
worry
town.
about working that out, you know, next time as the dust storm comes, etc., etc. Let's have people shout out though where to find them, what they've been up to, etc., etc. We'll do counterclockwise, so we'll go to Jinxx.
I'm Jinxx Jams on Twitch and Twitter. I stream most days. Might be having a movie night in my server actually on Friday.
Cool.
Yep.
I've been trying to have those too, like movie nights in my Discord server occasionally.
Oh,
We did.
it was magical.
We've done now anime, doing some Excel Saga, and we did Gamers too. But I've been thinking of doing like the Godzilla or giant monster movies, just because I love those movies. Like, you know, maybe like
Yeah.
like
Gamers
Probably
2
gonna
was,
watch House Moving Castle.
Gamers 2 was magical.
Gamers 2 is just a wonderful insanity. But then we also have Worm with us.
Yeah, I'm Diamondworm. I'm on twitch.tv/DiamondWorm or at DiamondWorm on Twitter. I'm planning to actually get back into streaming quite soon. I haven't decided on days yet, but I'm going to be streaming again soon, so keep an eye open. I'll probably post in Candace's Discord when I go live.
Cool. And then of course Momo.
Momo Shu on Twitch, Agi Shu on Twitter. I'm currently trying to sort things out to stream again. It's going slowly. So maybe end of this month, start of next month, I still have to find things to stream and time.
For myself, Tandis Naravan Dracovin, I stream most days. If you're looking for RPG games, there's this one, 1 p.m. every Monday, 2 p.m.s on Tuesday, all Eastern Standard Time. I have Legacies of Kain, a Vampire the Masquerade game. That's a very fun one. And on Thursdays at 8 p.m. is Children of Wrath, a D&D game set in a Magic the Gathering world. So again, 5e, but we're in Dominaria. RPG games expecting coming up. I'm doing some of the preliminary work and player work for a Pathfinder 1st edition game that I pretty sure we'll be showing up on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I don't know exactly.
One of them days and one of those times.
Yeah, I'm looking for a couple of new people to the group, you know, but maybe that have some experience role playing, because Pathfinder can be a soul dross.
Yeah, no, Pathfinder. I will do my best to help people understand.
Yes, I grabbed a couple of people that were my veterans from my off-stream Pathfinder game, because they have dived deep into it and learned their ways.
Oh god, it's so much work.
Hence poor Momo's part of that.
Don't play a spellcaster. Don't do it.
Pathfinder's fun.
But you know,
Pathfinder's great. I love Pathfinder.
Yeah, but again, we'll see. Like, I don't know when it's gonna start. That one is coming up. I can announce that I've been doing some preliminary work for it and kind of preliminary setup, and I got my like core of these people know Pathfinder. I definitely know they're ready for it. I just have to see if I want to maybe. I'm gonna try to grab some people from outside the group to finish out that group, at least for now. If I'm not successful after a while, I might grab some people from my, you know, group of RPG players. Other things to expect, I've been streaming a bunch of games. I'm going to do more Stardew Valley, because I love that a lot. And I've got 3 other games that I technically will do a little bit of, but, I mean, Stardew Valley's been nice relaxation and insane time, and, you know, I just kind of want to do more of that one. As much as I liked Jedi Fallen Order or Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, those are fun too! They're not the fun of just, you know, farming or neurotically trying to, like, you know, win over the affection of someone. I'm bad at that. And then I will say, like, I am going to start to re-upload on YouTube a lot of these videos. They're going to be a little different format. I haven't been uploading them for like 3 or 4 months. I'm going to upload them all as 1 episode instead of 3. I'm just going to cut out our breaks. I thought it was more convenient to have it, like, instead of being like a 2-hour long something or other, to be 3 45-minute things, but it's more work for me to upload it more than once. Fuck that shit.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, I'm just gonna upload it once. That way I just only worry about 1 upload a day rather than 3. So we're gonna do that. To make it easier. And I can finally get back to that stuff. So that's probably gonna start next week. I'm gonna try to like start uploading ahead of time. As soon as I get those edited. That's my announcement on that end. Probably more stuff on YouTube. This is my year of getting back to doing things. Like, I'm back in streaming. I'm gonna get more RPG games. I'm gonna make sure to get back into YouTube stuff. And maybe I'll start communicating with a bunch of people that I haven't talked to in like a year. In the insanity of it all. But, you know, that thing. Be a friend again. Anyway, for now, bye everyone. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully we'll be back next week for more adventures. Stay safe and stay sane in this crazy, crazy time that we're living in. And for many reasons. For many reasons. So, anyway, until then, farewell!
See ya.